be the last one standing. The first few hours are chaos. Alliances form and dissolve in minutes, as candidates betray one another for the chance to survive. You stay on the move, avoiding direct confrontations, while picking off weaker opponents. By the third day, only 4 of you remain. You, Corvin, a candidate named Tarek, and a brutal fighter known simply as the Beast. Tarek and the Beast form an uneasy alliance, forcing you and Corvin to do the same. The 4 of you clash in a brutal skirmish, every blow shaking the ground beneath your feet. Tarek is the first to fall, his chest caving under Corvin's relentless assault. The Beast turns on you, his fists like hammers. You manage to outmaneuver him, landing a blow to his throat that sends him staggering. Corvin seizes the opportunity and finishes him off. Now it's just you and Corvin. For a moment, you hesitate. The 2 of you have fought side by side, saved each other's lives, and forged a bond in the heat of battle. But bond means nothing here. With a swift, decisive strike, you knock him unconscious. The instructors declare you the victor. When the trials are over, you're one of the only 3 candidates who survived. You're bloodied, exhausted, and battered, but you've proven your worth. The instructors present you with the insignia of a Viltrumite warrior, a simple emblem that carries the weight of everything you've endured. You've earned this, one of them says, their tone as cold as ever. Don't make us regret it. By your mid-20s, war has become second nature. Every day feels like a repetition of the last. Descend upon a planet, crush its defenses, pacify its population, and move on to the next. The galaxy is vast, and the Viltrumite Empire demands total dominance. You barely have time to process one battle before you're thrust into another. You also now have a mustache, and so does every other Viltrumite man. It's legally required by the government that all men have a mustache, kinda like Australia. By your 40s, the cracks in the Empire's facade become harder to ignore. The conquests continue, but the resistance grows fiercer. Rebellions that once took days to crush now drag on for months. You stopped aging years ago. The older you become, the more powerful you grow, and the slower you age. You can live for thousands of years. In your 50s, you return home from that week's conquest after receiving word that your father has died. The official report says he passed during a training exercise, but whispers suggest something darker, an act of defiance punished by the Empire. At his funeral, they didn't mention anything about his personal life, only the things he did to serve the Empire. They just relive his glory days as a military leader. The doubts that have plagued you for years resurface. Was he truly a loyal servant of the Empire? Or did he question the path laid out for him? Shortly after your father's funeral, you are summoned to a meeting with the High Command. They congratulate you on your years of service, and inform you that it's time for you to take on a new role in the Empire's master plan. Reproduction. They think your genetics are exemplary, and that it's your duty to carry on that strength to the next generation. Except, that generation won't be born here. You were given a file with information about a distant, resource-rich planet called Corvus. You see, one of the High Command's most effective war strategies is sending scouts across the universe to infiltrate the world, and, most importantly, reproduce with a member of the dominant local species. Viltrumite genes are extremely adaptive. They're so potent that a Viltrumite can reproduce with almost any other race in the universe, humanoid or not, and their genes will almost completely overpower the genetics of the non-Viltrumite parent, making the resulting offspring almost purely Viltrumite themselves. One of the few rules of this reproduction program are that you're only allowed to procreate with genetically similar species. The more naturally compatible the mate's race is, the sooner the offspring will inherit all of the standard Viltrumite abilities. Humans of Earth, for example, are so genetically close to Viltrumites that a human-Viltrumite hybrid is nearly identical to your pure-blooded Viltrumite and will eventually become just as powerful. But why are they doing all this? To create more Viltrumites and take over that planet. Looking at the file, the population of Corvus is humanoid. Very good. And the world has been deemed a prime candidate for genetic integration. Your mission is to establish yourself among the Corvans, produce offspring, and solidify Viltrumite influence on the planet. At first, this feels like a break from the endless battles. Go live a normal life and start a family? For a guy like you, that sounds almost too easy. But this isn't about building a family. It's about the Empire's agenda. The children you father won't belong to you. They'll belong to Viltrum. When you arrive on Corvus, you see it's quite beautiful. Not that you'd ever admit that. The Corvulans are peaceful people, and their culture is centered on art, community, and in harmony with nature, which is pretty different to everything you've ever known. Your initial interactions are all very calculated and designed to gain their trust. You present yourself as a traveler seeking refuge. It's a pretty good play. When it comes to Viltrumite infiltration, it's one of the oldest tricks in the book. Over time, you integrate into their society, forming bonds and learning their ways. Despite your mission to destroy them from the inside out, you can't help but admire the Corvulans. Their values are so different from the Viltrumite agenda. Years from now, your people will come in to either conquer or destroy this planet. But for the first time in your life, you begin to experience peace. Eventually, you fulfill your duty and form a partnership with a Corvulan woman named Alera. Viltrumites are taught from an early age to view their mates as nothing more than tools for breeding or combat purposes. Yet, you're beginning to see Alera as much more than a pet. Together, you have 2 children, both of whom inherit your superhuman strength and resilience. Raising them is unlike anything you've ever experienced. For the first time, you understand what it means to nurture and to protect. Yet the Empire's shadow hangs over you. You know that one day the High Command will call for your return, and your children will be expected to join the Viltrumite ranks. That day finally comes, and the High Command praises your progress and orders you to return to Viltrum with your children. But can you do it? That night, as your family sleeps, you make a decision. You contact the High Command and inform them that you've encountered some unforeseen complications. It's a big, fat lie, but at least it buys you time. Over the next few weeks, you prepare. You teach your children how to harness their abilities, instilling them in the values you've learned from both Viltrum and Corvus. You know that when the Empire finds out what you've done, they will come for you. But for now, you're giving your family a fighting chance. The Viltrumites finally arrive, led by an aged and battle-scarred General Korath. You see a few faces you know, but most faces you don't. The invading army attacks, and the battle is brutal. You're completely outnumbered fighting with everything you have, and you know you're not winning this battle. All those years of combat experience have served you well, but in the end, you were just no match for the Empire, and are killed leading the planet's last stand, but not before ensuring your family's escape. Ilera and the children disappear into the wilderness. Their future is uncertain, but at least it's free from the Viltrum army. The same can't be said about Corvus though, which is now the Empire's newest addition. Your death is recorded as a betrayal, and your name is quietly removed from the Viltrumite history. But to those who knew you, you're remembered not as a conqueror, but as a father who chose freedom over a millennia-old galactic empire. Not bad for a kid in a gravity chamber.